Hello, everyone. This is Rick, and welcome to Astral Club. This episode is going to be called Weird Astral Realities. We're going to talk about why the astral doesn't always copy the physical, even on the lowest level. Things are seen that can't be explained and confuse, especially folks who are beginners at astral projection. One thing I want to announce that I have a new patron. His name is Michael Pio. He is Astral Master status, and I'm very grateful. Thank you very much, Michael Pio, for being my newest patron. I'd like you also to stay until the end. I have an announcement that I have to make. Okay, weird astral realities. One of the common questions that I get that I'll probably have until billions of years from now when the sun finally expands and is destroyed is, Rick, I'm a new astral projector. I projected, finally left my body. I was very happy. And I looked around and I saw things that I don't understand. That, for instance, I saw a shadow man in the corner and it scared me. I see things in my house that aren't there. And I'm very confused. Could you please explain to me the best way you can why this happens? Why even the lower astral does not directly correspond with the physical reality? Let me start, as I like to do usually, with the physical world, because the old occult saying, as above, so below, can often explain why things happen. It also helps to frame things in a way that everyone can understand, because we all go through our physical lives. We certainly understand how that works, and it can help us to understand some of the things that occur on the astral plane. Take, for example, a room filled with books. I personally love books, and my home is filled with them. If you send one person in to take a look around this room filled with books, and then they leave, and you ask them, what did you see? Well, there's someone who loves books. So they were fascinated. They said it was a wondrous room. It was filled with all these interesting books. And I couldn't stop myself from grabbing them and opening them up and reading them in the short amount of time that I had to look around here. And it was just a fascinating and magical place. Now send someone in who isn't that much interested in reading or gaining knowledge. And you keep them in there for 15 minutes, and they come out and they say, oh, thank you for letting me out of that boring place. There was nothing but books, nothing to do. It was horrible. I hated it. It was stuffy. Oh, thanks for letting me out. You have two different people who saw the very same room, yet had drastically varying accounts of what they perceived. So what that tells us is that there's really no objective reality that we can really grasp, because we perceive even our physical reality through the screen of our consciousness. And our consciousness is very much affected by our life experience, by who we are, what we love, what we hate. So realities, even in the physical world here, can be perceived very differently, even though in an objective sense, that room was exactly the same. It had exactly the same books, and it was exactly the same temperature and light level, you name it. But you have people who perceived it very, very differently. The astral world, when one astral projects, especially for newer projectors, because they haven't been able to discipline their mind yet. They still have a lot of thoughts running around, not only their conscious mind, but also their subconscious. So what happens is this. They leave their body. Now, they're a little leery of this experience. Yes, they've listened to Astral Club videos and read some books and Robert Monroe's books and some other ones, and they're, they feel, okay, I believe Rick. I think this is pretty safe, but still, they've got some of that fear, like a little critter in the back of their mind. So they leave their body, and what do they see? And I get this all the time. There's a dark shadow in the corner of the room, and they stare at it and they look at it, and it takes on a shape and it becomes evil looking, and they're frightened and they get returned to their body because, number one, they're so close to their physical body that there's that gravitational pull, but then their fear pulls them back even more quickly. Now, do you really believe in every new projector's bedroom or every astral projector's bedroom there's actually an evil being that is designated to stay there in the corner just waiting for the time that you astral project? I mean, I'm not completely eliminating the possibility, but if I was the head of the army of evil, I'd find a better way to disperse my resources than having them lurking in bedrooms for long periods of time, waiting for someone to astral project, and then only to scare them. It seems like a big waste of time and effort. 99 times out of 100, what you have seen there is a shadow. And then your subconscious mind, which we've seen can affect the physical as well as your conscious mind. But in the astral, it happens much more quickly and much more thoroughly, because now you're in a realm where your thoughts can help to mold reality. Now, it's not effortless. You have to put some energy into it. Unfortunately, fear is a powerful energy. Just like love, they're really, I consider them on opposite ends of the spectrum, but they're also very powerful. So with that fear, you have imbued this shadow now with this scary life force, and you frightened yourself. That's a very, very common situation, and it's one thing that I want people to really understand. When I leave my body, I don't even glance around the room. I just take off and go on my way, because I found out a long time ago that anything you're going to see there is it's useless. It's not going to assist you in the goal of your projection. However, I understand new projectors are always very interested in their environment. I've also heard people say things like, well, I left my body and my home looked different. There was a room added on to it that doesn't exist presently. The kitchen looked different. I went into my brother's bedroom and it started looking like a creepy cave. And so what's that all about? And usually what'll happen, especially with new projectors, is they'll say, well, since what I saw didn't 100% agree with what's there in the physical, then I didn't really astral project. It was just some weird dream. I know that's possible, but if it ticks off all the other boxes that we've talked about in the past about what constitutes an astral projection, there's no real grounds here to disavow that projection just because you saw things that didn't agree with the objective physical reality. For example, there's a number of reasons that could explain that. In the astral reality, time is much more fluid. I've projected out of my body, and many times I'll leave my body and bam, I'm back in my old bedroom as a kid. It's like this weird homing device because so many of my projections started there. and we lived in that house. My parents still live in that house. So it has this weird, powerful subconscious attraction to me. And so I've done that many a time, and I've seen furniture, for instance, that hadn't existed in my parents' house since I was 5 years old. So there was a time slip. Now, I do travel in time quite a bit, so it happens quite often with me that I'll slip in time. But even a new beginner, it's possible, especially if they have a stray thought somewhere along the line about time or about the past, that they could manifest the astral reality in the past. Going into their brother's bedroom, all of a sudden they see this weird cave-looking thing. Well, perhaps subconsciously, they've been punished by their older brother for going into that room in the past without permission, and that they maybe the older brother even beat up the younger brother. As an older brother, I would never do such a thing, but I've heard it does happen. So perhaps the fear that he manifested by going into the forbidden lair of his older brother transformed the subjective astral reality for him into this weird cave-like vision. So that's something that we very much need to keep in mind. So how can we handle this problem? Because generally, when we astral project, we want to try to perceive the astral realities as closely as they exist. So what do? Well, we have to discipline our minds. It's important to keep your conscious mind, at least, fixed on your goal. Now, preferably you should have your goal fixed ahead of time, and I normally do. Sometimes, though, I won't, and I'll astral project, and those are usually the throwaway astral projections, as I call them. I'll just fly around the sky, or I'll fly along the beach or over mountaintops. It's beautiful. It's also exhilarating because of the negative ions that are churned up by windy mountains and crashing shorelines. But it's important, I think, to have your mind disciplined so that you proceed on your course and don't allow yourself to be distracted by various things that don't quite agree with what you think should actually be there. Some other ideas that can help you avoid these weird reality changes, other than keeping your mind disciplined on your goal, is keep moving at all times. Don't stay in one area too long. The longer I find that you stay in a particular area, the more your mind starts working and you start impressing your own thoughts and feelings on that area, and you can cause variations, changes in that particular scene. So keep moving, and you can avoid that. Of course, as I've always said, when you're dealing with astral projections, make sure you get as far away from your physical body as possible, at least 20 feet or 6 meters, because if you want, otherwise the gravitational pull from your body will pull you back. Concentrate on your forward vision, and when you turn around, only do so slowly. I've noticed that quick changes in orientation or view can cause some disturbances in the local reality. And now keep in mind that I'm talking about forward vision now. If you actually want to experiment with 360-degree vision, then you can ask for that, and that is a very interesting topic. But that's the topic for another time. I just wanted you to be aware of that. Another way to help keep yourself on track, which I used to do especially when I was younger, is to talk to yourself and say, okay, this is where I'm going. This is what's going to happen when I get there. And keep a running commentary during your projection as to what's happening and what your goal is. it allows you to keep fixed and keep on course. Another trick that I read about that I have used on occasion is glance briefly at your hands whenever reality starts fluctuating, but not long enough so that they start to melt. I've noticed that this gives you a little bit of a shock, but it helps to sharpen up reality again and stops the reality drift, if you will. That's just a little trick. Now, don't be surprised if your hands look a little different than they normally do. But that's just one way to, once again, become focused. Okay, that's this video. It's a little shorter than usual, but I'm trying to get my videos a little bit shorter because the analytics tell me that folks don't want longer videos. They want shorter ones. One of the announcement that I have to make is I had to I was asked to take down the astral projection course videos by a publisher of the individual who had made those courses available. In my investigation, I found that they were in the public domain, and I even tried to contact the author, but it was impossible. He's been in seclusion. Apparently, they were in public domain at one point, and now they're not. So it's not for me to argue it. So I just took them down. And we will just go on with our Astral Club, and I hope that you got some benefit from those videos, but they're no longer available. Okay, I want to thank everyone. If you're interested in donating to Patreon at any point, I'll have that link in the description. And once again, I want to thank everyone for your time. And if you liked this video, why don't you hit that like button. If you want to share it, share it. If you haven't subscribed already, what the heck, press the subscribe button. It's not going to kill you. Ring the bell. That way you'll be notified whenever I post a new video. And leave your comments and questions. I love answering those things, and I think they're very informative, and it's very enjoyable for me. And I think everyone else. And as always, I'm Rick, and I will see you on the Astral Plane.